morning. Okay. Sorry, just trying to get this right here. All right, guys. Good morning, good morning. Let me share to my business pages as usual. You guys know the drill. For coming on, say hi, where you're from. Sorry if you guys hear noises. I think I mentioned this before, but my apartment is the apartment above me is being renovated. So I wake up to this 7 a.m. nice and early. Okay, cool. All right, guys, we're going to talk about fear today because, hi, Catherine. Because if you guys have noticed a pattern, thank you. I know, isn't it the cutest thing? Let me know if you guys hear that thumping. I'm sorry. Like I said, the apartment above me is being renovated. Okay, cool. I want to talk about fear today because I was hit with paralyzing fear just last night, which caused some serious insomnia. So, it's not a good thing, right? Talk about an emotional prison, right? Okay, cool. So let me introduce myself. My name is Justine Leslie. I am an intuitive coach and spiritual mentor, teacher, whatever you want to call me. I help people help heal themselves. I help people get spiritually connected, and I help people empower their intuition to start living a more aligned life. So I also help people create the emotional freedom they want, especially empaths. I am empathic myself, which is kind of like being a human sponge, where you feel energy very deeply. So it could be a little bit difficult. We think and feel differently than a lot of people, so it's hard to navigate, right? It's hard to connect. So if you suspect you might be an empath, just message me. We'll chat. And yeah, that's that. So let's get right into it. Let's get right into fear. So, I don't know. Hold on, guys, because I have this. So we're speaking about fear today, right? And for me, I go by the classic definition of fear from A Course in Miracles. So give me some hearts or likes. Have you ever heard of A Course in Miracles? So basically what it is they say it's a workbook for students, manual for teachers, clarification of term supplements, and the foundation for inner peace. Which to me, I think it's more like the Bible for spirituality, right? So basic principles can be found in here. And the most basic principle is there are only two main emotions. Thanks for the likes and hearts, guys. There are two main emotions, and those are love and fear, and they're actually opposite of each other, right? So a lot of people think the opposite of love is hate. It's not. It's actually fear. So hate falls under the umbrella of fear, but it's actually not hate. Anyway, so this book really prefaces it. It talks about miracles, which a lot of people don't really understand the definition of miracles, and that's really just a shift from fear to love, right? And so miracles happen every day, right, guys? Every time you forgive, it's a miracle. So it's more modern than you think. I think it's really, really heavy, honestly. I will be reading it on my trip. You have to read. It's one of those books where you have to read the paragraph about 2 to 3 times, at least for me. Like Eckhart Tolle, if you ever read his stuff, I have to read that 2 or 3 times. Same thing with Deepak Chopra. But it's really, really important for people to read and see if they resonate with this. But basically, I wanted to preface that about fear, what it actually is, to start. And what that means is when I say that it's the opposite of love, anything not of love is actually not real, right? And so what I mean by this is that most of the time when we are very fearful, it is something that we create. The ego creates it, right? We create the worst case scenario. We create things, fear around things that haven't happened yet, things around that. And most of the time it's not real, guys. It's just something that's manifesting from our ego. So we're actually creating it. And we're actually keeping ourselves in the box that we're keeping ourselves small, we're keeping ourselves in the box, and we're keeping ourselves in the comfort zone, right? Which is the dreaded comfort zone, right? It's a great place to hang out, but it's no place to grow, right? So it just keeps us there. So it almost kept me there. last night. So I've mentioned it a couple of times. This is totally me. I'm glad you resonate. And let me just tell you something about fear that a lot of people don't really understand is that people that do fearless things, they still have fear, right? Like a lot of people that do things, they feel the fear and do it anyway. And that's the difference, right? Is because real strength comes from feeling it and doing it anyway when you know your intuition is or spirituality is pulling you to do the thing. That's really important to be conscious of and self-aware of, is that you are doing the thing that aligns with your soul despite the fear that comes along with it, because it will be there, right? Because like I said, it is created by ego, and ego just tries to sabotage the shit out of us, right? Sorry for cursing, but it's so true. The ego is not our friend, guys, and it's really important to recognize that and realize that we do have two parts of ourselves, and we should always stick with the truth, right? And the truth is love, our true selves, higher selves, soul, divine, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, okay. So everybody feels fear. If you're a human being, you feel fear, and that is no getting past it. But like I mentioned the other day, I did a live that said the two controllables. Well, there's actually one more that kind of blends into both of them, but there is a controllable that you have, and it's controlling your emotions. And you can actually, when an emotion comes up, it comes up for a reason, right? There's a reason you're having this fear. And all it wants to do is be looked at, right? It doesn't want to be ignored. It wants to be looked at. So it's important to feel the feeling and let it pass. And that's the pretty much healthiest thing that you can do. But letting it pass is the choice. That is the point here, is that we actually have the control to overcome the fear, us alone, with help with spirituality and all that stuff. But there are ways to overcome it. So I put together 3 things that I will be doing today, because last night fear hit me like a ton of bricks. I am going on a trip to Asia for 3 months. I'm starting to think it's a little too long for me, but again, trying to really figure out whether that's fear coming into play or me listening to my intuition, which could be, kind of hard. But, fear paralyzed me last night, thinking about how I'll miss my family, how I'll miss my friends, how I'm going to miss New York. I love, love, love New York. New York is my place. So, all of these things that I'm just running through my mind and kept me up till 2 a.m. And I usually never go to bed at 2 a.m. But, again, this would be the second time I almost canceled the trip. So I want to be transparent with you guys, because it happens to the best of us, right? So I'll be doing these fear exercises today for myself, and I wanted to share them. Hopefully they're helpful to you guys. Sorry, can you guys see me? I was getting a FaceTime. Sorry about that. Okay, cool. So the first one to overcome fear, this is a nice little exercise, is so let me preface this by saying, earlier I just said the opposite of fear is love, which is true. But in order to combat fear, we need to create courage. So how do you create courage? That's a really good question. For me, in my life, and this is where being a spiritual coach and an intuitive coach comes into play, is that I have never been able to do anything super, super brave without relying on something bigger than myself to create the support instead of relying on the willpower alone. Does that make sense? Give me some hearts and likes. It's really up to you, whatever you believe in, and this could actually go into different religions and things like that, whether it's Jesus Christ or whatever other religion. I'm pretty ignorant on other ones, but I know about Catholic religion because I grew up Catholic. But whatever you want to rely on, as far as bigger than yourself, and whether that's if you're spiritual and you rely on, you'd see the divine or the universe as nature, whatever your relationship to whatever it is, use it. That's what it's there for. It's there for the hard times, but don't forget, guys, pray when things are great and pray when things are not so great. You have to pray for both. And it's important that you are able to use that relationship that you have to help you make that shift, right? Because courage falls under love, right? So that's a positive emotion. So that would be creating fear into courage is actually a miracle, right? So create miracles, basically, is the first one by creating courage. So I really, really love that one. That's a great tip. So the second one is, now, you guys have to take this as a grain of salt because I get a little weird about this one too. So I put get rational. So rational. Am I rational? I don't know. I gotta say, I'm not really sure. I have frequently been told as an empath that my head is in the clouds. So when somebody says be practical, be rational, it kind of makes my skin crawl a little bit, but it actually, this one works. So when I say get rational, I mean take out a piece of paper, maybe you have a journal, and write down the worst case scenario of what could happen to you. Think about the fear. Write down why you're afraid of it. What could happen? Just write down, for me, maybe I'd write down like getting kidnapped, getting attacked, not being able to do my work over there, missing my family, whatever it is. I get this from my husband a lot. Get what? Be rational. So hard to be rational. But write it down and ask yourself at the end if you would actually survive it, right? And, the fears that I have about missing my family, will I survive? Yeah, I'll survive. I'll have to think of different ways to combat the missing, right? Like how I miss them so much. But at the end of the day, it's not going to kill me. You know what I mean? So I'm going to survive it. And it's important to, finish off the journal entry as I'm going to survive. I didn't spontaneously combust at the end of it, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully that makes sense. The third thing is, now, I love talking about having a choice, right? I did a live about the controllables. I just mentioned earlier that emotions are controllables. And now I'm talking about optimism being a choice and being controlled. So what does that mean? That means that, guys, every day that you wake up, you choose to be in a good mood. You choose to do the things that you do. You choose to look at the world in a different place. You choose to react the way you react to your emotions. They're all choices. We have choices. And when I say that because we are the creator. That's why, guys. We get to create the reality that's around us, not the other way around. So, hi, Justin. What's up? So, we actually decide to be optimistic. So, when it comes to facing fear, it's a choice as far as whether I want to be optimistic about it, have a good time, and not wallow on the negatives, and really think about the positives, about the great experience I'm going to be having, about the great people I'm going to be meeting, about how I'm going to get so connected, how I'm going to see different things, how the weather's going to be beautiful, all of the things that I may miss because I'm wallowing in the negatives of the situation. So always looking for the good, because you know what? Positive attracts positive, and I can manifest a good experience for myself. And that's what I need to really, really understand. And when it comes down to it, these three things, creating courage, getting rational, making a choice to be optimistic and positive, all of these have to do with, again, guys, control. I get to decide what type of experience I get to have. I get to decide whether I'm fearful or, everything under the category of love, whether I have a loving experience or not. And that is something that's so important that we need to remember, is that we are so much bigger than our fear. I'm going to repeat that. We are so much bigger than our fear, like way bigger. And there's nothing that we can't do, especially if we desire it. And that's important, because this is something that I do know. I do desire this trip. I do desire to live abroad. I do desire to reconnect with Buddhism. I do desire it all. And it's important for me to follow my desires and be the person I know I could be. And that's that, right? Because fear can kiss my ass. And even just doing this live and guys, talking about it, talking about your fears, writing it down, I'm telling you that number 2, it's going to be super helpful. So get out that journal if you don't really journal. I'm telling you, it's going to be super therapeutic, very, very spiritual experience to get whatever is jumbled in your head. Because let me tell you, when you're a dreamer like me and you don't live as presently as you want to be, it's super, super, super hard to get to defeat fear, right? Because we're, in our heads. So it's time to get present, write stuff down, get it all out, and I'm telling you, it'll make you feel so much better. So hopefully that helped, guys. Oh my God, fear sucks. You're awesome. That's all I have to say. If you got anything from this live, you should get that. So, yeah. So, okay, cool. I am going to be on tomorrow. I really enjoyed this live. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And I do want to leave you with one last thing. Again, I know I say it a lot. You are the creator. You are the badass. You get to manifest the life that you've always wanted. And I need you to understand that. I need that to be something in the forefront of your mind. And I need to take my own spiritual guidance to heart, right? And start really realizing that. So, and making it in the forefront of my mind. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll be on tomorrow. It was so good talking about this. It makes me feel better, like I said, and hopefully you guys feel better about whatever's kind of eating at you. So, go out there, kick fear's ass, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.